another episode of My Kind of News. I'm Aliza, and I'm so excited to be here today with Lauren.
Yes, hello, and I'm excited to be here today with our theme song.
Bring it.
It's
My kind of
only kind of news, but it's our kind of news, and it's My Kind of News podcast. It's My Kind of News podcast. Oh, yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you today, Lauren?
Today I'm reporting in from Los Angeles, California.
Woo, woo. Here I am in lovely Portland, Oregon, and the sun is shining. It is gorgeous. I got out and took a walk this morning, and I know you did too.
Yes, and the most magical thing happened to me on my walk today, actually.
What happened?
So I was walking with my mom and our adorable dog, Trixie, at Trixie Talks on Instagram. She's hilarious. And we're walking up our street, and there was a guy who I thought looked familiar, that he was another neighbor. And so I flagged him down, and I was like, hi, are you that guy that I think you are? And he was like, no, I'm not that guy. And we talked for a little bit, and in his hand, he was holding these like gorgeous mandarin oranges that just looked so plump and juicy. And they also looked easy to peel. I don't know if they are, but they just look perfect in every way. And so as he was walking away, I was like, where'd you get those oranges? And he was like, my yard, would you like them? And I was like, yes, I would 100%. This is my lucky day. Woo! Yes. Happy dance. All the things, all the feels. So I am now in possession of 4 juicy mandarin oranges, which I wish I was holding up right now.
True abundance, prosperity coming to us from all directions.
I'll post a picture.
Okay. There they are. Aren't they gorgeous? Wow. That's a pretty awesome way to start the day.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Yes. It was so lucky. What a miracle. What a treasure. I mean, like 4 homegrown mandarin oranges, that's treasure to me.
It really is. Treasure. Pausing to really enjoy the best of life. Homegrown produce, getting to connect with a neighbor. And I just think that's so wonderful that was how you got to start your day. So fabulous. And with some healthy food.
Well, they're currently in the fridge chilling. I prefer my mandarin oranges chilled. I don't know about you, but
how fabulous.
Anyway, so tell us about you. Anything magical happen on your walk this morning or recently?
I'm really excited that I just recently moved into this lovely new place, and I'm still discovering the neighborhood. And I was really hoping that there would be a green space nearby. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo! Good time. We like to notice fun times as a way of taking a moment of gratitude. And so anytime we notice a pattern in times or like on license plates or kind of anywhere in the world, we take it as a sign to pause and have a moment of gratitude and celebration. So it was just 1, 2, 3, 4. So I wanted to throw that out there. So fun.
And tell us about what you are discovering about your neighborhood. But yeah, sometimes our time tangents just they got to happen. You got to catch the time.
Got to be in the moment, which our person today talks about a lot, being present in the moment. And the way I got to be present in the moment was I discovered that there's this gorgeous green space nearby that I can walk to that has these lovely trails. And it was such an incredible discovery because it was really what I was hoping to find. And there it was. And I can't wait to explore it more because there are more trails than I have been on so far. And it's just such a delight to be able to get out into nature nearby. And so I'm really, really grateful. That's one of the things that I really love about Oregon is that nature is so accessible and so gorgeous. And I love arboreal diversity, being surrounded by lots of different kinds of trees. That tree energy is so nurturing. It is so grounding. It's so present. And those are the authentic opportunities that our person today is really encouraging us to seek out. Find these real moments, strip away these expectations of society, what you should be, what you need to be successful, not happy, successful, to show other people that you're having the most fun possible all the time. You know, it's like so much pressure. These expectations are pretty much impossible to keep up with, and they're making us all miserable. And today, the guidance and wisdom of our person helps us to break those expectations, to face who we are, to sit in our discomfort and sit and sit and sit and figure ourselves out, to find our own way to happiness and authenticity, stripping away all the shoulds that we've taken on from other people, from our parents, from our school, from our friends, from our culture, and say, well, what actually makes me happy? So who are we talking about today, Lolo?
Well, Aliza, we're talking about the one, the only Dr. Shefali Tsabary.
Yes, we really love her. She's fabulous. She is a child psychologist. We went to Columbia and really focused on mixing the psychology of the West and the philosophy of the East to help people merge the best of these ways of thinking about ourselves and our lives, and helping us reprioritize what we give our time and our energy to, so that we can invest in things that actually feed us, feed our souls, feed our health and our happiness in real and authentic ways. And I'm just so excited about her. She started off doing child psychology and helping parents to become better parents by also becoming better, more complete, whole people themselves. And so she said she wrote her first book, The Conscious Parent, as a way of helping parents, but also helping the individuals, because sometimes people, she found, were more likely to pick up a book in the name of helping their kids than in the name of helping themselves. And this is one of the things that we're taught to do in our society. And she talks about, especially as women who are natural givers, that we fall into this place of always giving, of always prioritizing other people's needs above our own, and how that becomes really toxic. And how if you're trying to find your happiness outside of yourself, you will always be left wanting. You will never find that completion and satisfaction, because even if you succeed in the moment, it's transitory. It's gone in an instant. It's like, cool, you won that award. Now what? And I think that's what happens a lot of times to celebrities and really rich people. They're like, cool, I did it, I made it. But they haven't done any of the inside work necessarily to find out how to truly fill their souls and find their own happiness. So the external rewards that society told them, this will make you happy, and they get there and they're like, I'm not happy. Like, what next? What else? And so she really, really talks about pausing, getting present, getting quiet and listening to yourself. And she's like, it's really uncomfortable. She's like, when she first started, she would like check her watch, started meditating, learning to meditate, which is learning to pause and get present and release the past, release the future, release your need to do, and just be. Not a human doing, a human being. And it's so rare that we give ourselves these opportunities to just be a human being. And she was like, it was so uncomfortable. I kept checking my watch every 30 seconds. And it was so, all these feelings were coming up when I tried to be still. It's like, yeah, and work through it and work through it. And she was saying that the greatest gift, even though there's been a lot of pain and suffering and hardship along with it, but that COVID forced everyone to actually stop for a moment. These rushed schedules, all these have to be here, have to be there. We have this negative relationship with time, around always rushing and then putting that stress on ourselves and other people because we just can't pack it in. Like how often do we rush our kids because we feel like they need to do all these things to be successful humans? So we're always rushing them from one thing to another. Hurry, 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 find your shoes, find your shoes. And they're like, whoa, I thought we were going to do something fun. Why are we all stressed out? Because we're going to be late to the movie, and you're like, this is supposed to be fun. You made up that we're going. So allow the time or just be late, but you don't need to add this extra layer of stress all the time. That this is this external pressure. You have to look a certain way. You have to speak a certain way. You have to be nice, especially girls and women. You have to be nice. You need to compromise, all the time. Compromise your needs, your priorities to accommodate other people. And I don't think she's saying don't get along, don't find a way, but you don't always need to compromise your needs. There can be room for your own authenticity in all of these relationships. It's big stuff.
Big stuff. But Dr. Shefali, she covers it all. She's not afraid to go there. She goes there. Mm-hmm. And then she does it with such grace and style, and she's so well spoken. Mm-hmm. She's so clear and coherent. She really explains a lot of these really big concepts, a lot of these things in very matter-of-fact, straightforward, I don't know if they're easy to hear for some people.
Yeah, some of them are pretty punching, like when she's like, reject these norms. You're ruining your children by putting your expectations on them instead of just letting them be. It's like, oh, it's a lot. You're totally right.
And also she knows what she's saying is not easy to hear, because she will say, before she says anything, she'll be like, okay, this is going to piss like most of you off, but we live in a patriarchy.
Yeah. Which isn't just about men and women, but it's about a system that she talks about, a system of control that men are subject to, that women are subject to, that we each have to live up to these stereotypes, these norms of culture, that men have to be strong, that men have to be financially successful, and that women need to be beautiful and nice and accommodating and serving. And now we have a lot of up and coming powerful women that are saying, I can be a powerful, independent woman, fully conscious of my own self, loving myself, and go into a relationship from there. And it's a real revolution, I think. This is a whole new level of freedom that is available to all of us, to men and to women, by questioning these social expectations and norms. Absolutely. And I think a lot of it is really hard to hear. Like when she says, you can't, in her most recent book, A Radical Awakening, which is really pushing us into that uncomfortable zone in a lot of ways of really taking responsibility and saying, yeah, you might have been in a terrible abusive relationship, but you somehow enabled it by staying, and that you do have these freedoms to at least leave the room, bring in other help, understand when things are toxic, and that if you stay, that's a choice. Like, oh, that can be uncomfortable. And she's like, we have all kinds of justifications, financial reasons, got to do it for the family. Oh, it's better for the kids. And we just take on all this toxicity. We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it perfectly. It has to be Pinterest perfect all the time.
Yeah,
and
not only do you have to do it, but you also have to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
A lot of resentment can build up in that, and ickiness in the body.
Absolutely. And that can turn into disease.
Yeah.
Because unprocessed emotions can be toxic. We hold it in our body and it makes us sick, and it makes us feel depressed because we can never be enough. If you buy into social expectations, cultural norms, you can never be enough, because that's the underlying theme of capitalism that she talks about, is that we need to keep buying more. So we have to be dissatisfied, because if you're satisfied, you don't need necessarily the newest, the most, the perfect, the everything, the biggest, the shiniest, if it's really just about satisfying your internal needs and getting into the present moment to feel what is good, worthy, lovable, enough right now. And to sit with that, and then to feel what is uncomfortable that comes up, and to really look at that, to take that time. And she says that parents should be required to go off into the jungle and sit for a year and just away from all the cultural expectations and really find themselves before they're ready to have parents. Because how can you bring a whole other person into the world if you haven't even sorted out your own stuff? Because if we haven't sorted out our own stuff, we just put it on our kids.
Two things. You said before, parents should go into the jungle before they're ready to have parents.
Oh, you're right.
But they do have parents. They have kids that might become parents. And, you know, there's that middle ground of being both a parent and a child also within Dr. Shefali's work. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want, which we'll get to, the other thing that I was going to say is that I completely forgot the other thing I was going to say, and it'll come to me later, but I love that. Yeah. It was this, that she says, well, why do parents have kids? They need to look at why they're having kids. And if it's for making them look good, that's not a reason you should have kids.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yourself.
Yeah. That we feel like either we should have kids, it's an expectation, right? And then it's, I think a lot of people, as she talks about, put their unfulfilled needs, their unfulfilled expectations of themselves on their kids, and expect their kids to make them happy, or expect their kids to make them look good. And that we, as soon as they're born, we immediately start limiting their identity and telling them who they are, instead of listening to who they are and allowing them to tell us and show us, and to encourage and nurture their authentic self. And that it's this huge challenge, that parenting is this enormous challenge. She acknowledges not everyone's going to be able to go off into the jungle for a year, but she does recommend a lot of self-reflection, right? Why are you doing this? What's your motivation? What do you hope to get out of this? How are you going to manage these challenges? And she talks about this balancing act between connection and containment, because she's not saying, let them run wild, have no boundaries, don't put any expectations on them at all. She's saying, you know, there's this challenge. They are not complete whole people that know how to get along in the world. They're complete whole people in themselves, but it doesn't mean that they know how to safely navigate the world. Like, they still need a bedtime. Bedtime is reasonable. But she says that the connection is honoring where your child is, that if they're 4 years old and they're hyper and you say, you know, bedtime's at 7:35, then you're going to be upset if they're not ready to comply. They're not little soldiers. They're not our slaves. They're not going to line up all nice and neat like The Sound of Music. And, you know, where those kids were really shut down until, you know, Maria came along and offered them the opportunity to get a little chaotic and to really express themselves, you know. And this is what we do to our kids. We expect them to come to a whistle and line up and be accommodating to us, right? Follow my rules or else I'm going to punish you. I'm going to punish you for expressing yourself. You know, you didn't go to bed at 7:35 when I thought you should go to bed. It's inconvenient for me. Now you're in trouble. And it's like, you know what? Work with your kid. Maybe bedtime is between 7:30 and 8:30, and you do your best to get them. You know, you need to start winding them down at 5 because you know your kid. You know, maybe you have a kid that just gets in bed and goes to sleep, you know, but probably most of us have kids that whatever the day is, whatever they have going on, we need to honor that and be flexible enough that the containment is that there is a bedtime. And we're only going to read 3 stories, not 25. but we will read stories, and we will read your favorite stories, and I will sing your favorite song, and I will listen to what you need. You need me to sit here a little longer, I'll stay longer, but I'm not going to stay all night. And so it's so challenging to hold those boundaries for yourself in ways that keep you healthy, keep us as parents healthy, while honoring our children, their needs, their self-expression, and that it's not easy. And she says it takes a background in psychology, understanding developmental psychology of kids and what's reasonable to expect from them at different ages. Like it's completely different parenting to a 4-year-old and a 16-year-old. And she talks about how she has a 16-year-old daughter, and how she thought she knew. She'd been like practicing for like 12 years before she had a kid. She thought like she'd worked out her shadow side. She'd figured it out. She'd coached a lot of other people. She had a kid and was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all these things. I'm going to mess up my kid. I'm doing all these same things. I'm projecting my needs and my insecurities on my kid. And that just really shocked her, how much more work she needed to do on herself to be a fully present parent.
I love that she talks about how our kids are our greatest teachers.
Yeah, I love that.
We have a lot to learn from our kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we come thinking like, oh, I'm going to teach my kids things. It's like, I agree. I think that my kids have been my greatest teachers. I'm learning from them every day. They challenge me. They show me where my buttons are. Like, I think I'm a pretty patient person. I think I have a good sense of humor about things. And then they'll find that little button. They'll push me in just a way. And I'm like, whoa, I've got work to do, and it's inspiring and it's frustrating. And it is such a beautiful, joyful process with just a huge amount of challenges.
I think one of the things that I got from Dr. Shefali, not being a parent yet, but was still super helpful, was setting boundaries. She is so huge on setting healthy boundaries for yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I learned in her Year of Manifestation course that I did 2 years ago. Now we both did it. We loved it. Mm-hmm. And setting boundaries and what boundaries we're like able to set. I think she breaks down a lot of the cultural things, like you were talking about, of women that we think are expectations, but are actually, cultural expectations. And we can set a boundary saying, you know what, that doesn't work for me. Here's the authentic way that I want to exist, and that's okay. And so she made it easier to set some challenging boundaries for the first time.
Yeah, just knowing you're allowed to. I think that often as women, there's this fear that I'm going to be rejected if I ask for what I need. I'm going to be rejected if I disagree. And her point is, then be rejected. You shouldn't be in that relationship. And she talks a lot about, you don't need a relationship. Your most important, you need relationships in your life, but the most important relationship is with yourself. And that life's deepest meaning comes from connection with others and interconnection, connection with ourself. And that first we have to work on our connection with ourself, because we are only capable of loving others at the level that we love ourselves. Whoa. We're only capable of loving others at the level that we can love ourselves. And so the more we learn to love ourselves, the more we trust ourselves, the more we invest in ourselves, getting to know our authentic, true self, the more we can accept authenticity in others, allowing others to be who they are, accepting them for how they show up, loving them fully for who they are and not needing them to be something else for you, not needing them to make you happy. And she's like, it's a lie that you go out and there's only one person that can be your one and only, and that's it. And that you're going to be the same. You're going to totally grow together forever, and or not grow at all and just be, And she's like, no, so many people go out and they're basically an emotional 5-year-old, and just because we put on the trappings of adulthood doesn't necessarily mean that we've done the emotional work to grow up, to understand how to feel our feelings and not just dump them on other people. And so we get into these relationships where we say, you're my one and only, and I expect you to make me happy, and I expect you to fulfill all of my needs all of the time, and to be able to just know what I need. I don't even know what I need. I just want you to know what I need. Take care of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And then we get upset when it doesn't work. We feel like failures.
Yeah, I was always disappointed.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's because there's no way to really be satisfied long term if you're always expecting it to come from the outside and you don't know how to give it to yourself. And I think that that's a big challenge that she says, get in the now. Release the past. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. It is not who you are anymore. Whatever happened to you in the past, whatever was done to you, the wrongs, the hurt, which happened to all of us, it doesn't make it okay, but it's also not real right now. It's just how we got here. It's just acknowledging how we got to this moment of this person and all the things that we've taken on from others. It's just that recognition, but the past doesn't exist. It's not here anymore. It's gone by definition. And the future, it isn't here yet. We cannot create the future. We can only create now. We can only be here now. And she talks about how we get so attached to our future and that we get so disappointed and so upset with ourselves when the future does not meet our expectations, because we're not responding to what comes to us naturally. We're saying, if I don't have this degree by this age, I'm a failure. If I haven't reached this level of promotion in my company, I'm a failure. Instead of saying, what's my relationship with myself?
Or saying, I'm going to get this thing and then I'll be happy, or I'm going to achieve this thing and then I'll be enough.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that we put that on our kids. Like, just play this game. I know you don't enjoy school now. I know I'm forcing you to do all of these extracurricular activities and putting a ton of pressure on you to be the best. You got to be the #1 soccer player, the #1 in your class, the #1, or it doesn't count. All or nothing, best or nothing. I mean, that's so much pressure that we put on our kids, that just being a happy kid, well, that doesn't cut it. Like, you got to be #1 at something so that I can brag about you and feel like I'm doing a good job as a parent, right? Instead of just saying, well, what do you love? And let's enjoy it and find ways of engaging authentically with it without putting so much pressure, And it's just all of these pressures that we can never just accept ourselves and be. We feel like there's so much pressure to always go, 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 do. And that we don't know who we are when we stop, which happened to so many people during COVID. They stopped for the first time in their lives and they were like, now what? And that the feelings that came up weren't because of COVID. They were because we were forced to sit and feel our feelings, some of us, for the first time. And that was really challenging.
So I want to come back to how being a parent, giving birth to parents,
yes,
kids become parents. No, but being a kid to your parents, but also being an adult to your kids.
Right. What is our relationship with our parents as an adult? And how does that change? How do we take on their expectations? How do we limit ourselves to play it safe, to safe, to stay small? Don't get too big. It is dangerous. Something terrible could happen. It will all fall apart. And she's saying, let it fall apart. Let it fall apart. It's not serving you. You're not happy, right? That whole concept of we'll be happy when. Play this game. Work so hard, achieve these goals, get the top grades, and then you'll be happy. When you get that job someday, ooh, you'll be so happy. And the kids are like, well, are you happy? Parents like, no, I'm investing in you. They're like, well, when do you get to be happy? You're like, oh, when you retire someday, then you get to be happy. It's like, and then you die. It's like, wait a second. What about everything in between? Like, how can we bring joy and presence and connection to others, connection to ourselves into each moment? How do we reject those cultural norms that really aren't serving us? And sometimes the cultural things are fun and we can be a part of it without attaching to it. A fun example. You might notice we're wearing these cute little matching dresses.
And if you're just listening, we're wearing cute little matching dresses. And yeah, I love matching with you.
That's so fun. So when we were in Kauai a little bit ago at the beginning of this summer, Lauren and I and my daughter got these cute little matching dresses because we just thought it would be so much fun. We got that it was a little silly and, kind
but
of.
I wanted to do a photo shoot. I thought it would look cute for a photo shoot. And by photo shoot, I mean like family photo shoot.
And you're so right. And it was
and
like the most, we wore them all the time.
Yeah, and everybody loved them. They're comfortable. It's the dress that looked good on everyone.
They're super comfortable. It's like,
I'll do
really
a stand up.
And
kind of see.
We were really, really amused. I was just so excited to get to like play the game, and looking at it as a game and not really concerned what other people thought. It's just like, we're having fun. And people really felt that about us. They felt our fun, that we were just so into our thing. And it was a great feeling because then a lot of people would get on board and like have fun with us because we opened the opportunity of showing up and being silly and having fun and just.
Do you remember that family that like also was really well coordinated and really well dressed as well? Like the mother and the daughter had the matching, and then the father and the son had the matching, and they had like their hair done. They looked so good. And then when we saw them multiple times, we were like, that one day when we were stopping and we were looking at the Kailua lighthouse, and we were also going to this other overlook, and we just like kept running into them. We were like, oh, hey, you're like matching people. Woohoo, we're into that.
And they just looked like they were having fun. Like it was their fun. And
we got to have fun together, and we got to like increase our fun by like, both being in on it when we would see them.
Exactly. And I hope that their kids felt the fun of it and didn't just feel like I need to be a mini me of my parents, and like, I wonder, like, did the kids think it was as cute as we thought it was? Or were they like, I have to do this? Were they like, I have to be like my parents now? I mean, I don't know.
Anyway,
like, all I saw was the fun.
The kids look good. They wore it well. They were in Hawaii. They didn't seem they seemed too blessed to be stressed. And the one other cultural norm that I think that we don't want to reject, that we do like, is the one where everyone wears pants. That's a good one.
We were joking about that around COVID when people were initially getting used to wearing masks, and that some people were, rejecting that and saying, well, I don't need to do it. Other people, and just having that challenge of conformity. And we said, Well, when you go to the grocery store, even if you don't need to wear pants, there's probably someone there that, you know what, you're glad they're wearing pants. We're all just going to wear pants. We're all just going to agree to wear pants. And like that was the mask kind of concept, is it's like, you might not think you need a mask, but there's probably someone in that store that you're glad is wearing a mask. So we're all just going to do it so that we can keep each other safe. And, and so like, I think that was a way that we were joking about that, but it's true. There are some things that we agree to in being in this culture. Like we do agree to wear pants, but you don't have to wear the same pants. You don't have to wear just khakis that are a certain fit and a certain style like everyone around you. You can wear tie-dye pants. You can wear whatever crazy pants you want, be crazy pants. It's like that balance between doing what we need to do to get along and challenging where are the moments for self-expression? Where are the moments for my authentic self to be expressed here, right? And so I think that that's really, really challenging to know what feels good to get on board because everyone's doing it, so you kind of feel like you're a part of something that's huge, that's so deeply tribal to us. The feeling of fitting in comes from this ancestry where we lived in tribes and completely relied on each other. And if you were rejected, you were kicked out of the tribe. You're going to go out in the forest, get eaten by a lion, starve to death. There was a system of interconnectedness that we really felt, and it was survival. And it's not like that anymore. We are not just surviving anymore. We have so much abundance in our society that we can each contribute in our own authentic way, and we can all thrive together. We don't need to limit each other, to the, what are you going to be when you grow up? And here's your list of options. And there's like 10 things. And if you go off of that, like, oh, your life's probably going to be horrible because it doesn't meet my expectation of getting that degree, of getting that top position, of having a huge amount of money and resources. And that's the only thing that's important. Having those things is awesome. It's great. I'm not saying don't do it. She's not saying don't do it. She's just saying don't attach your identity to it. Enjoy what you have, but don't attach your identity to it so that you are unhappy if you don't have it. That we can be happy with whatever we have because we're not going to starve. And if we're rejected, there are more tribes available than ever before. You can join another group. You can find your people that speak your language, that enjoy life in your way, like us in our silly dresses.
I want to wear matching dresses with you.
Yeah, go for it. And on other days, wear other things and explore and see what makes you happy each day. And that you don't have to be who you were yesterday. You do not have to play the same character. And that doesn't make who you were yesterday wrong or bad or less. It just means that we are free, and freedom means the freedom to express ourselves in new ways. As we learn and as we grow, we get to change. And that's really hard because a lot of people around us expect us to play that same character all the time and don't necessarily like it when we show up differently. Maybe when we start setting boundaries and respecting ourselves at that next level of self-care, and that self-care is not selfish, and that selfish doesn't necessarily mean bad, and it doesn't necessarily mean not serving others, but it means serving yourself first, taking care of yourself first, making sure that you fulfill your own basic needs. Sleep, eat well, exercise, have fun, take good care of yourself so you feel good in your body, that you're nurtured. So this is a huge struggle with a lot of young parents with young kids, that they don't do that. You sacrifice it. You feel like you have to sacrifice it all for your kids, for your partner, for whatever. And you get left behind, but that's the only way to be a good girl, a good person in the society. She's saying, no. We can do better.
Not only can we do better, but in Radical Awakening, she talks about finding your inner queen.
Woo! And the phone validated with a bing, bang, be a
Bing,
queen.
bing. Universe agrees. It's 111.
Nice.
111.
111. We're in alignment with our core purpose. We're going to express our purpose.
We're going to be our inner queens.
Be our queen. Be a queen. Right. Expect that you do deserve good things in life. You deserve good things in life. You can be fully present and love what you have. Love where you are. And if you don't love where you are, don't blame other people. Don't blame society. Look at yourself and say, where's my choice in this? Where is my choice to make a change? And we say, oh, but I have to do this. You say, that's a lie. That's a lie. You don't have to do most things. You know, there are consequences, but maybe those consequences aren't so dire as we expect, right? We're not going to die from rejection. In fact, we might die from holding ourselves in so much that we get so sad and depressed and squished and we don't take care of ourselves. And then we expect other people to make us happy. And why am I not happy? I've achieved these goals that other people said would make me happy. And there's more. There is more to ourselves, to our lives than society tells us. And it's up to us to seek that, to heal our own wounds, to take responsibility for our choices, and to know that our emotions and our happiness is in our own hands, only ours. Lolo, would you like to share a card?
Yes, I would like to share a closing card. Thank you for summarizing Dr. Shefali Tsabary so beautifully in that last sentence. Our happiness is our own.
It's our own responsibility. It really is. And I would just sum up by saying for parenting, her big thing is the balance between containment and connection. And that connection is really important in honoring who our children are authentically and helping them stay fully authentically themselves while providing a container of safety and boundaries to teach them how to get along in this world, but also to try not to limit them and to do the same for ourselves, to find that containment of what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And then honoring that connection with ourselves of what is authentically, truly me, what feeds my soul, what makes me happy, that interconnection. And then to go out into the world, spilling over with our fullness and joy of self into relationships with others. To have these two whole people coming together is true love. And that is a rare and special thing and worth working towards. I love that.
All right, so I'm going to pull a card from my I Am affirmation deck. I got this one on our trip to Maui a couple years ago, and then I reordered it because it was so great. So I have two of them. This is actually the second one. I'm going to pull a closing card and we will see what it says. I am love. Speaking of relationships.
To be love, not to look for love from the outside, not to look for validation from the outside, not to look for the world to meet our needs, but to know that I am love. I am love in this moment. No past, no future, now. I am love. And learning to fully love ourselves is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves in all of life, is learning to fully accept and love ourselves. Beautiful. What a wonderful card. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to point out these gorgeous earrings, and thank you so much for making these for me. Oh, I love your flamingos. This is the Hawaiian Ocean. You have your tropical earrings. And if you would like to enjoy some gorgeous jewelry, please check out Lolo Unicorn on Etsy. We're so excited to be with you today and to share these ideas and to get to share our love of Dr. Shefali and her work and her challenging us to break down these expectations, this false self, to shed our false self, which is scary because then who are we? We get to find out, and it's safe and we can do it together. All right, we can support each other in this journey of our own internal work. And I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you, Lolo. Thank you.
I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you, Aliza.
Yay. I want to play our theme song.
And I'm so grateful we've got Dr. Shefali leading the way, letting her light shine bright, just being such a bright light in the conversation. And she's so awesome.
Yeah, she's bold. She's loud and proud. She's putting herself out there, really, really walking her talk. She is challenging herself to be truly authentic. And I want to take on that challenge.
Well, I am so grateful. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll be back with another video next week. Thanks so much.
My kind of news.
My kind of news.